how to 2x your business value, the 8 of data value, why is it so hard to become data driven, and the 10 things you might have missed in the last 10 days. As you can tell, we have a very busy update this week. Welcome to the top 5 data, AI, and analytics post of the week. This is the update where I review, highlight, and recap for you what's hot and what's not in the world of data. It's our 80th edition of the Data Driven Carcast. If you like this, smash the like button, comment, like, subscribe, and make sure you engage with the community. As you remember, if you follow me every week, down the link here, you'll have in the blog a nice slide deck that packages all the links and resources I'm going to talk about in today's update. Let's get started with how you can 2x your business value this year. Well, you've heard me talk about this in the past. Gartner has this great top 10 trends for 2021 for data analytics. And this past week, Rita Salam, Donald Feinberg, and Peter Denhammer ran a great webinar where they talk about the updates of these trends that also answer a few questions. Now, the webinar is 60 minutes, so if you don't have time to take a look at it, I want to at least highlight 3 key things that they talked about. The first one is this trend of the augmenter consumer. You know, traditionally, you think about business users were restricted with predefined dashboards, manual data exploration, but Gartner believes that moving forward, these dashboards will be replaced with automated, conversational, mobile, dynamically generated insights that are customized for the users, and they'll be delivered in a customized way all the way to the point of consumption. And I believe that the interface moving forward for data is actually going to be you. Remember when Microsoft about 10 years ago really changed the game by shipping this product called Kinect. Kinect was this camera on top of the Xbox, and basically the tagline back then was, you are the controller. I remember being at Microsoft at the time, but the idea is that you could control the game with your gestures and your movement and so forth. And I think that's exactly where we're headed with data analytics. In the very close future, we will interact with our voice, with our gesture, which means it'll be easier for us to work with data, but it also will be easier for us to contribute to the data in the knowledge repository of your organization. So when I hear the augmenter consumer, I hear 3 things. I hear 1, the way you need to think about the relationship with the employees using the data is that they are consumers. So it's not just about the engineer, the data scientist, even the business analyst or the information worker. Think about them as consumers of the data. Second is, of course, the augmentation of it is going to make it easier for them to interact with the data as the data comes to them, but it also is going to make it easier for them to augment the data the other way and contribute to the repository. So that's not the only thing that was discussed in this webinar. I'm just talking about 1 trend here, and there are 10. So take a look at it. There are 2 more that I think you really want to pay attention to. The first one is the data fabric. My friend Edisham here is going to be happy we talk about that. I think it's a really critical trend, and if you're not asking about it to your team, you probably should. Because as we connect here with this augmenter consumer and your digital transformation is accelerating, data is going to become increasingly complex and difficult to manage. You'll need a holistic approach, if you will, an all-inclusive architecture so you can support composable data and analytics and the various components that make the data fabric. You know, think about data hubs, data exchanges, data lakes, data warehouse. You'll need to be able to discover, to have data that interoperates, and of course, data that you can govern. Now, according to Gartner, doing data fabrics well means that you can reduce integration design by 30%, you can reduce deployment time by 30%, and more importantly, you can reduce maintenance by 70%. So that's not a small number. It's something you're going to want to investigate. The second trend relates to driving business value. According to Gartner, in this research piece, they say that if chief data officers are involved in setting goals and strategies, they actually can increase the consistent production of business value through data by a factor of 2.6. And so that's not trivial. In fact, it connects well with a Harvard Business Review piece by Randy Bean that was published just this past week. And the question is, why is it so hard to become a data-driven company? So why is it so hard? And so he's identified a large number of issues that the average organization faces. But there are 2, I think, that are critical. The first one is connecting your initiatives to high impact business problems and high impact use cases. And we've talked about this before. But the second one is about re-examining the way you think about data as a business asset, from capture to production, all the way to consumption and utilization. So understanding how the data is being utilized is critical here. Could the answer be the data fabric? I'll let you decide on that and hopefully engage with the community. Folks that have been successful, it can help you. By the way, if you don't remember who Randy is, his firm issued the Data and AI Executive Survey 2021, where we talked about the good and the bad and ugly a few weeks ago about what's happening. If you don't remember, the good is 99% of data investments are increasing, so that's great. The bad is that 76% of executives still cannot realize their goal of becoming a data-driven organization, and then almost 92% of companies see their results still lag. So a lot of great background in its HBR article. In fact, Randy is working on a book that's going to be published at the end of August. Really take a look at the article. I hope you can connect with him. His book is called Fail Fast, Learn Faster. And like I said, it's coming out at the end of August. I'm putting the link to the book as well here if you're interested in finding out more. Now, speaking of authors, I've talked about him in the past before. Scott Taylor is the reference for data management. So if you're looking at solving this data fabric problem we talked about, he might be someone you're going to want to check out and take a look at his work. Very entertaining presenter, by the way. And he's got this playlist series called The 8 Eights of Data. And so, we're not going to cover all 8, but for example, he talks about the need for data to circulate real time. The data needs to move across your system. The data must integrate and the data must interoperate. Check out the playlist. Hopefully you'll find some great sound bites and some great gems that you can use. I mean, one of the great gems, I think, in one of these presentations is good decisions on bad data are bad decisions you don't know about yet. Scott also has a book that's called Telling Your Data Story. So take a look at the blog if you're interested in engaging with Scott. So we've covered a lot in this week's update, but guess what? There's even more. For instance, in the blog, you'll find a discussion on pre-COVID data. Is the pre-COVID data now useless because we can't really use last year's data to predict next year? So how should you think about that? How should you think about synthetic data? How do you help yourself produce better use cases and better results for demand forecasting and others? You'll find Jim Hare and Manish debating on that, and hopefully you can engage and get some learnings from that. Now, also because it is March 1st here, you're probably wondering, hey, what did I miss in February? And a lot has happened in the world of data analytics in February. Well, first of all, from a personal goal, I managed to reach my 100-kilometer running goal this month. So I want to thank Nishan and the rest of the community for pushing me there and accomplishing this. And I also had the opportunity to work with amazing customers in the blog. You'll find the story of Verizon and Sunrun and NVIDIA and Square has a great article. We also talked about the story of Twitter. We had some great innovation this past month and it hit around BigQuery and Data Fusion and Dataproc and Data Catalog, and work with great partners like Trifecta and Databricks and Tableau and Microsoft and Superset. And so I'll let you take a look at that. I also want to make sure that you connect with Brett, VP of Personalization at Pandora. He is my customer of the week this past week. I can't wait for you to hear his story. Lots of great learnings there. There's a great, if you have time, a great video of him presenting about his modernization migration to the cloud. He certainly has a ton for you to hear from, and I hope you can connect with him. That was a lot for this week. We're almost at 10 minutes here, so I'm going to try and close it out by thanking you for the engagement. Really appreciate the DMs and the comments and the likes throughout the week. This past month has been particularly very busy, but I'm going to try and get back to as many of you that have reached out to me. Keep on engaging, keep on teaching each other great lessons on data. Stay engaged, be data driven, and I will see you next week.